She pulled up with her mind made up. The back and forth had gone on long enough, and that afternoon, she was done talking through a screen. She was going to handle it in person. What started as a confrontation between women in a parking lot on Mercy Drive turned into something nobody standing there that day was prepared for. Someone else showed up, someone who had no business being there. And within minutes, everything changed. For Ruby, her 2 sons, and for a city that was about to be reminded just how fast a regular afternoon can go completely wrong. Hey everyone, please like and subscribe before we continue. Now let's get back to it. Most people at 22 are still trying to figure out their next move. Ruby Kior, born Macayla Queen Patterson, had already made hers. She had a brand, a salon, and a clientele she was building. She was a licensed cosmetologist based in Orlando, Florida. Her specialty was lace wigs. And in the hair industry, that takes serious skill. Lace work is an art. Ruby had that gift naturally. She showcased her work consistently on Instagram and TikTok, and the people who followed her could see she was building towards something. Ruby owned Kior Collection, her own hair salon and beauty brand right there in Orlando. The salon covered everything: hair extensions, wigs, braids, weaves, coloring, haircuts, makeup, lashes, nails. She moved through her craft with real confidence. No hesitation, just someone who knew exactly what she was doing. She had a personality that made people feel comfortable around her, and her clients loved her for it. Beyond a salon, Ruby was a mother to 2 little boys, and those children were everything to her. She posted them often. Playing, laughing, she was not shy about how much she loved being their mom. Ruby was also very close to her mother. She showed more of that on social media. She also can be seen on this video styling her mom's hair, trying to make her look young again, joking around with her, and making her feel beautiful. Now, Ruby's life was not without its rough edges. She knew that and was actively working on herself, personally, spiritually, as a mother, and as a business owner. She kept a journal, and in that journal, she had written out her goals for the month of September. Prayers she wanted to build on, a closer relationship with God, things she wanted to change about herself. Her coworkers saw it. They watched her put in that effort every single day. One of her colleagues said it plainly.
She was making strides to better herself as a whole, better herself personally, better herself as a mother, and better herself as a stylist.
Ruby had been going back and forth with a group of women for weeks before everything came to a head. The tension between them had been building. Insults, arguments, the kind of back and forth that lives on social media and in text messages, and just keeps going until someone decides enough is enough. People close to the situation and familiar with the area have suggested it may have started over a disagreement involving a man. By the time September arrived, the situation between Ruby and this group of women had reached a point where it felt unfinished. Weeks before September 22nd, Ruby received a message from someone she had never met, a complete stranger. This person had dreamed about Ruby. In the dream, there were girls trying to fight her. This is the message. Hey girl, hey, so last night you were in my dreams. So weird, cause I don't know you at all. I saw girls while they were trying to fight you, and you was just laughing, saying, y'all lucky I changed, I changed, I changed. You kept saying that. I'm just writing to you to encourage you. If you are changing, keep changing. The devil will try to put people in your path to bring you backwards, but don't go back. A stranger, someone who had never spoken to Ruby in real life, had a dream in which Ruby was being confronted by a group of girls, and Ruby's response in that dream was, I changed. People who knew Ruby confirmed that she was trying to change. She had been telling friends and family that she wanted to leave that chapter of her life behind. The conflicts, the confrontations, all of it. She wanted to make it for herself and for her boys. That journal, those September goals, they were not just words, she meant them. But the ongoing tension with these women had gotten under her skin. And on September 22nd, 2023, Ruby made the decision to go to the Palms Hotel and Villas on Mercy Drive in Orlando, a complex in one of the city's most troubled areas, to confront them directly. She was done waiting, done going back and forth. She wanted to end it face to face. Mercy Drive sits in one of Orlando's roughest pockets. The city sells itself to the world as the theme park capital, Disney, Universal, but underneath that, certain neighborhoods in Orlando carry a weight that tourists never see. The Palms Hotel and Villas, despite the name, is not a resort but a low-income apartment complex, a place with a history of incidents long before Ruby ever set foot there. Around 2:30 in the afternoon on September 22, 2023, Ruby arrived at the Palms Hotel and Villas on Mercy Drive. She came with a purpose. The women she had been clashing with were there, and she was done letting the situation drag on. The moment she got there, things moved fast. The arguing started almost immediately. Voices got louder, it turned physical. Ruby and the group of women were in a full confrontation, pushing, swinging, hitting the ground.
Oh, another fight, look. Oh, Lord, look, boy. Oh, hold up.
Then a car pulled up. Delray Duncan Jr. stepped out. This was a dispute between women. Duncan had no direct involvement in what started this conflict. He was not one of the people Ruby had been arguing with for weeks. Investigators have not confirmed why he showed up or who called him. In the middle of the brawl, Duncan produced a firearm. Ruby saw it and the crowd began to react. People starting to scatter, the energy shifting from a fight to something else entirely.
Look, boy. Oh, hold up. Nigga out here. What, I got 5? Girl shot, bro.
Have you seen my life?
Oh my God, I ain't got my phone. Oh, they done shot. Oh my God, where they shot her at? Call 911. Call the ambulance.
I need towels.
Y'all get something. Y'all just watch that corner over there, man. Put pressure on her. Where's she bleeding from?
CJ, look, CJ.
Duncan opened fire. Shots tore through that parking lot. People ran in every direction. 4 people were struck. 3 of them sustained injuries that, while serious, were not life-threatening. The 4th was Ruby. Ruby took the worst of it, multiple rounds, including one to the head at essentially point-blank range. 3 other people were struck that afternoon, and all 3 survived. Ruby alone suffered the concentration of the gunfire. Whether Duncan specifically targeted her or whether the volume of shots fired in her direction was intentional has not been officially confirmed. But the disparity is there.
All right, first at 10 tonight, Orlando police arrested 1 man in connection to the shooting that killed 1 person and injured 3 others on Mercy Drive on Friday. West 2's Liv Johnson learned this is not his first run-in with the law.
The suspect is 23-year-old Delray Shundale Duncan Jr. On Friday, police arrested him for attempted homicide and first-degree felony murder in connection to the shooting. Meanwhile, Orlando police are still looking for more people connected to the shooting Delray Jr. was allegedly involved in on Friday. They say it happened around 2:30 in the afternoon at this apartment complex on Mercy Drive. But each victim was found in a different location. The first victim was at the complex and brought to ORMC in critical condition. Then, while police were at the apartment complex, they say they were notified of a possible suspect vehicle that fled the scene. Police started a pursuit that ended on Old Winter Garden Road and Duncan Place. This black Chevy sedan later seen blocked in by crime scene tape with significant damage to the front and what appears to be blood outside of it. That's where police say the second gunshot victim was found and transported to the hospital. Then a 3rd victim was dropped off at ORMC, and a 4th victim was later found at Advent South. 22-year-old Macayla Queen Patterson was pronounced dead at the hospital. Police say the other 3 have non-life-threatening injuries.
When Orlando police and emergency services arrived at approximately 2:34 p.m., they found Ruby on the ground. She was rushed to Orlando Regional Medical Center, but her injuries were catastrophic. She was pronounced gone at the hospital. 3 other victims were found at different locations, including inside a vehicle nearby. All 3 were transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Duncan did not stay at the scene. The moment those shots were fired, he got into a black Chevrolet sedan and took off. Witnesses gave Orlando police a description of the vehicle. Officers were notified quickly, and a pursuit began through Orlando's streets. The chase covered nearly 2 miles before police were able to corner the vehicle near the intersection of Old Winter Garden Road and Duncan Place. When officers reached the car, it had significant damage to the front left bumper. There was also visible evidence on the exterior of the vehicle, consistent with the violence of what had just taken place. Duncan was not alone in the car. 3 other people were with him. One of them had also been injured in the shooting and was taken to Orlando Regional Medical Center in critical condition. Delray Duncan Jr. was taken into custody at the scene. That same day, he was charged with first-degree felony homicide and attempted homicide. He was booked into Orange County Jail without bond. Delray Duncan Jr., 23 years old at the time. Back in 2018, when Duncan was still a teenager, he was found guilty of battery on a juvenile detention staff member. He spent 196 days behind bars for that. Then, in March 2020, Duncan was arrested again, this time for felony armed robbery and aggravated assault. According to court records, the victim reported being physically attacked while Duncan demanded anything of value from him. It was violent, calculated, and there was a weapon involved. 2 months after that arrest, the state attorney's office under then state attorney Monique Worrell issued a notice that the state would not be pursuing those charges. They dropped it. A man who had allegedly pistol whipped someone and robbed them at gunpoint walked away from those charges without a trial. When the system has someone with a documented history of violence in its hands and chooses to let them go without consequence, someone else almost always ends up paying that price. In this case, that someone was Ruby. Governor Ron DeSantis eventually removed Monique Worrell from office, and among the reasons cited publicly was her pattern of declining to prosecute in cases exactly like this one. But for Ruby, that information came too late. By September 2023, Duncan had accumulated a history, documented, on record, of violence involving weapons, and he was still out, still accessible to whatever situation came his way. One official who responded publicly to the tragedy put it plainly.
The incident is sad that it couldn't have been de-escalated.
Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill, whose district covers that area, spoke about the broader effort to bring change to the community, increase policing, community engagement, and focus services for young adults in that neighborhood.
More policing, which we're doing, community engagement, and focus on services for those youth and young adults in that community, along with their parents.
The Orange County Sheriff's Office continued investigating the case, actively seeking additional witnesses and working to establish the full picture of everyone involved. Investigators focused specifically on whether Duncan acted alone or whether others present that day had a direct role in what happened. Police were clear in their public statements. This was an active, ongoing investigation. They were not done. Back on Mercy Drive, flowers and candles started appearing at the location. People who knew Ruby, who worked with her, people who had only ever seen her online, they all felt the loss. At the salon where Ruby had worked for the past 8 months, her suite became a memorial. Colleagues placed flowers there, and one of her fellow stylists, LaToya Steele Sanders, posted a tribute on Facebook. She wrote about how Ruby would rush in late, borrow a blow dryer or some bleach at the last minute, keep everyone on their toes. And then she wrote, "We still can't believe this is real. You didn't deserve to go like this. Love you, Ruby Kior. You will forever be the Envy Hair Designs baby." Then there was her journal, and in it, September goals were written out in her own handwriting. Goals she said at the beginning of a month she never finished. Prayers she had written down for a relationship with God she was still working toward. A better version of herself that she was actively reaching for. Delray Duncan Jr. was booked into Orange County Jail on charges of first-degree felony homicide and attempted homicide and was held without bond. Court documents confirmed what investigators already knew. This was not a man who had stumbled into criminal behavior for the first time. His record stretched back to when he was still a teenager. Each time the system had an opportunity to intervene, something fell through. And now, a 22-year-old woman was gone. The charges against Duncan were serious. First-degree felony homicide in Florida carries the possibility of life in prison. Attempted homicide charges were also filed in connection with the 3 surviving victims. The investigation also kept its focus on the broader picture. Orlando police confirmed publicly that they were not done, that they were still examining the full scope of who else may have been involved that afternoon, and still working to establish the complete chain of events. Ruby's family requested privacy throughout this entire period. Ruby Kior was a licensed cosmetologist with a brand. She dreamed of becoming a celebrity hairstylist and watched Kior Collection grow. She was raising 2 sons, writing prayers in a journal, building toward a better version of herself and a future. She also knew she had a side of herself she needed to leave behind, the part that refused to let things slide. The people who loved her watched her try, and they saw the progress. Ruby made a choice that afternoon, knowing the tension had been building. The conflict that had been simmering for weeks. She felt the unfinished business needed to be handled, and in that one moment, let the emotion of the situation override everything she had been working toward, and walked into a confrontation she had been trying to leave behind.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. At the tone, please record your message.
Hey, I kind of just called to hear your voice, so your voice recording was enough. I should hang up. What am I doing? So I feel kind of dumb, but I miss you. I've been thinking about you and how much I miss your touch. I miss being around you, hearing your laugh and holding your hand. I think of you every day. I want us to go back to the old days.
That's it on tonight's episode, and remember, these are real stories and real outcomes. Drop your thoughts in the comments, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.